Hello.
Hello.
How are y'all?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is our last class. So
Yeah.
it's exciting. So today we are going to be talking about two different things. In the first half, we're going to be talking about small talk. And I'll explain what that is in just a second. And then in the second half, we are going to be preparing you guys for future interviews. And we're kind of going to integrate small talk and interviews so that you guys can kind of see how they go hand in hand. So, first off, I'm going to explain to you guys what the idea of small talk is. So small talk is just, and you guys have probably had it, it's just two people, whether they're strangers or kind of friends, and it's just them talking about little things. It's very superficial, very short. So like one person will ask like a short question, the other person will say like yes, yeah, and it can be informal or it can be formal. So you can say yes ma'am, you can say yeah, however you'll answer a question depending on who you're talking to. So I'm going to pass you guys a worksheet. And this worksheet just has a sample dialogue of what small talk might look like. So you can go through that and take a look at it. And then after you go through it, we don't have pencils.
We can do it in our heads.
You can do it in your heads?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So after y'all go through the conversation, come up with 2 to 3 small talk questions that you might have.
Okay.
And while y'all do that, I'll actually go grab pencils for you guys.
Okay.
So just go ahead, do that real quick. I will.
Okay.
Will you be student A?
I'll be student A,
Okay.
and then our questions.
Then we'll think about our
We'll
questions.
think about our questions.
You want to start it?
Do you want us to?
You want
read
us to
through
do
it?
this, right? To say
So
out
just-
loud?
So just come up. You can say the sample conversation if y'all wanted to. Yeah.
How was your day?
Good.
Did you eat?
Yes. Did you?
Yeah.
Was it good?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So you see that. It's really short. It's really casual. And with that, at one point, the person who's asking the questions, it switches. So by saying, like you said, yeah, did you? So it's just, it can be easily exchanged from who's asking the question and who's answering. So it's just really relaxed. And one thing that a lot of, like, in American culture, a lot of people can associate small talk with being, like, really awkward, superficial, just kind of like there's not a lot going on. Like if you went on like a first date,
Yeah. You started.
you kind of start off with small talk and you know, you kind of try to get through it. It's like an icebreaker. But if it doesn't go through, if small talk keeps happening and it's still awkward, maybe that first date isn't a good date.
Yeah.
So small talk is usually just associated with kind of something that's like short, simple, can be awkward, but it's also just like everyday little conversations. So yeah, and so I'm gonna have you guys kind of come up with a sample conversation with some of the questions that you might have thought up with, or some of the questions that
I'm trying to see what he wrote.
some of the questions that you guys might just pop up. So try to come up with just a short little, like 6, 7, 8 lines between you guys that you can have. Could you do that?
Yeah. So can I do mine and then he does his?
Mhm.
Okay. I went to the weather because in my country, when we don't really have small talk, but when something is awkward between people, we always go to the weather.
Yes.
So I was going to ask you, isn't this an amazing weather?
This is a great day. I mean, it feels cold, but it's outside in the sun, and it's actually warm.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be really cold when I looked at my phone, but I went outside and the sun is shining, and if you sit, it's just like a beach day.
Yeah. Did you get a suntan?
I tried.
Right.
I didn't have enough time to stay outside and get a tan, but it's really good. Is it always like this around here?
Not always. I think you got a lucky day today. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. That
So
was
how
good.
about them Cowboys?
Who are they?
Oh, America's team. They won yesterday.
Oh, America's team?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And so is that a big deal?
That's a big deal because they don't always win.
Oh, I see. It's like my club back home.
Yes.
So when they win, it's a big party.
Right. Exactly.
Well, good. I'm so
Yeah.
happy for you.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good thing.
Is it soccer?
No, it's American football.
Oh.
Yeah, that thing.
Football that's played with your hands.
Right. Football. Yeah.
Good. Awesome.
Nice.
Well, great.
Football. Yes.
Football.
Yes. Awesome. Do you guys have any questions?
No, I mean,
I think we're
You
getting
know,
the
we've-
hang of it.
yeah, we've practiced some, so
Yeah, it's easy.
it feels comfortable here. It might not feel as comfortable
Right.
when we go out there
Right.
in the real world.
That's good. Okay, so let's transition over to the next little activity that we have. We're going to be talking about interviews. So the purpose of this activity is basically just to get you guys ready as far as questions, as far as like what you should bring, how you should dress. So how do you think this activity could benefit you in the future?
Oh, I'll definitely be, looking for a job, and so it'll prepare me. I'll be nervous to be doing it in English, but so this will be a good preparation to see the things that maybe will be asked. And
Me too.
Same for you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So what do you guys think you should bring to an interview? It's probably the same all over the world as far as like where to go, but what's like the normal thing that you would bring to an interview, and how would you dress for an interview?
Well, you would dress professionally with, like a guy would probably wear a suit, and a woman would probably wear maybe even a business suit, dress suit. And what would you bring? You would bring a notepad and a pen to be able to write down notes. You'd bring your resume and
a portfolio, if the job,
portfolio.
Asks for
asks for a portfolio.
yeah, and just kind of whatever they tell you to bring.
Mm-hmm.
You'll bring that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So here's a second worksheet. This has a few questions that you might see in an interview. These are just like literally just a few. So go through them together. You can talk about them, and then I'm going to talk about in a little bit just how the small talk activity that we just went through, how it kind of relates to an interview and how it can be incorporated. So go through the questions, read them, think about them, ask any questions. Cool. So the last activity that we had, the reason I'm incorporating small talk into this is because a lot of times small talk is just like how you begin a conversation. So in an interview, whenever you walk in, some things that you might find, like when you first start having a conversation, will be like, hi, how are you? I'm good. How are you? I'm good. It's good to see you. Yeah. Thanks for having little things like the interviewer and the interviewee are going to be bouncing off of each other as far as this small talk conversation. So we are going to, at the end of this activity, we're going to have you guys choose who's the interviewer and who's the interviewee. And I'll explain that in just a little bit. but we're going to be incorporating the small talk questions into interview questions. But before that, why don't you guys go ahead and come up with 2 interview questions that you might have seen or that you might expect, and then the 2 answers to those questions.
Small talk questions or interview
Interview
questions?
questions.
Okay.
Yeah, so try to go through that.
Okay.
Cool. So then next, go ahead and come up with a couple more questions that are small talk related questions that you might encounter in an interview. It doesn't have to be like all 3 that I put, just like 1 or 2.
Okay.
Yeah?
Mhm.
Oh, you guys finished at the same time.
Awesome.
Okay, so now you guys are going to choose between each other who's going to be the interviewer and who's going to be the interviewee. The interviewer, whoever it's going to be, is basically going to have to ask interview questions, and they will be responsible for also kind of throwing in a few of the small talk questions in between, before, just so that you can practice kind of incorporating both of them so that it's kind of a more fluid conversation, so it's not just all like interview questions, boom, boom, boom. It's just a lot more natural. And then the interviewee is going to be responsible for answering the questions, but also when answering the small talk questions, it doesn't have to be as superficial as like the conversation that you guys had just a second ago about the weather. It doesn't have to be that superficial. You can go a little bit more into depth because it is a little bit more of a important conversation, so you can give up more information. But it's also up to you to decide how much information you want to give up. So that's what the interviewee is going to be doing, and it can be like a minute, 2-minute conversation with just some of the questions. You can use these questions up here as well. Use more questions that you might think up on the spot. So,
Okay.
Do you mind being the interviewer?
No. Okay.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good, good, good. So, is your day going well?
Yes, very well, thank you.
Okay, good, good. So welcome, and just out of curiosity, how did you hear about our company?
It was a friend of mine. Her husband works for your company, and he knew that there were some possibilities for employment, and so I contacted you.
Okay. And so where did you say you came from originally?
I came from Portugal.
Oh, okay. And where do you live? Where do you live now?
Right now, I live in Burleson, Texas.
Okay, okay. That's
Not very
that's
far
not
from
too
here,
far from
no.
here. That's good. Okay, good. So speaking of the job, how do you handle pressure and stress? Just to get a feeling.
I think I handle it well. I don't get overly worried about things. I think things, if something needs to be done, if there's a problem, you just, attack it kind of thing, and you just, I think things have a natural way of working themselves out, and I think if you're calmer, they'll out themselves better than if you stress. So,
You don't have any kids, do you?
no, I don't.
No,
Not yet.
That's a good
Oh.
pressure and stress measure if you had kids.
Not yet.
Okay. So what are your long-term goals?
I really like what your company does.
Mm-hmm.
And so it would be awesome to get a job here and just be part of a community and just, see where it goes.
Are you a team player?
I am. I love to work collaboratively and I love to work with people. So yes, I think I am.
Well, welcome to the company.
Thank you, sir. That's very kind of you.
Yay!
Best Christmas present.
Yes.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a really good conversation. Y'all had really good vocabulary, good interview vocabulary, like you said, cooperate. What other ones? You asked her if she was a team player, which is really cool. So a follow-up part to this would be that you guys would just switch roles. You would ask your interview questions, you would answer. But yeah, that was really good. Was it easy for you to incorporate the small talk questions?
At the beginning it was, but as you get further into the conversation, it's harder to throw in
Just a
a
random.
random
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you asking, do you have any kids? As far as that was good. Like that was a good way to.
Yeah, I just thought of that at the moment.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that was good. It was really good. Do you guys have any questions for me about anything?
No, not right now.
No? Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Well, that's it for
It's
today.
going to be
Thank you
very
so much.
helpful.
Yes,
Yes.
I really hope so. And
Yes.
keep those. Go do them.
Okay.
If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me.
Okay.
We will. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank
guys.
you. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.